chairman's suite. Fancy, fancy, fancy.
Vogue.
Cole.
Welcome. Joseph, please.
Why, thank you very much. You know, this 73 questions interview was so worth it to me that I flew all the way to Vancouver to be here with you.
I know, and I figured you were probably going to be pretty hungry, so I decided to cook you up a little finger food.
Well, I just happen to be very hungry right now.
You like tomatoes? You like garlic?
All of the above.
Your breath's going to stink, but I guarantee you, you'll love it.
So what are you making here?
This is just a little finger food for Joseph. And then I'm cooking up a carbonara. Carbonara for later. You don't get any of that.
That sounds delicious. Is this an old family recipe?
Yes, but I will be cooking this after our interview because I don't think you guys want to watch me go through all of this.
Cole, what would you say is the key to a good dish?
Probably the attention to detail, no?
I agree. Do you have an ultimate favorite recipe of all time?
Probably this carbonara. I make it really traditional in the Roman style. Pecorino, guanciale, which is important. You can use pancetta, but I like big, thick cuts of guanciale.
Guanciale. Sounds so romantic.
If you say so, Joseph.
Do you consider yourself a romantic?
Only when Vogue shows up and I have to flex on the internet.
No one's complaining. And what's the most romantic gesture that you've ever done?
I'm like a road trip guy. I like the big, grand, sweeping vistas.
And are you into camping or hotels?
Camping for sure.
Okay, and what's the most romantic gesture that's ever been done for you?
My heart is attached to my stomach, so any cooked meal, any family recipe, that's the way to my heart.
You hear that, ladies? So Cole, Vancouver is stunning. Are you enjoying it here?
When the sun is out, it is the most beautiful city on earth, truly.
And I'm happy to see that you're being taken care of so nicely here.
Well, I wanted to impress you, Joe.
No need for that. But it does seem like some other people are going to be thoroughly impressed with your culinary presentation.
You like that?
Consummate hospitality.
This is for all my imaginary friends. And maybe you.
I feel honored. I wouldn't expect anything less from someone staying in the chairman's suite.
I know. Just really living the sweet life, aren't you, Cole? Just never escape.
That's a good one, Cole. I see what you did there. So who is this chairman, and what did you do with him?
Don't worry about it. I'm blackmailing him, but we don't gotta mention his name on camera. Legal reasons, you know, big dispute.
Oh, certainly, certainly. Now, can I ask you some questions about your childhood?
Jeez, okay. A little family therapy again, Joe, let's go.
Exactly. So what's something that most people don't know about being a child star?
It's very competitive. It's a very competitive arena.
And do you have any personal anecdotes about that?
Well, just so happened my direct competition was my identical twin brother, but we were eating off the same table, so, you know, same team.
Do you ever go back and watch old episodes of The Sweet Life?
When I'm drunk or feeling really narcissistic, yeah.
And how does it feel when you're watching your younger self on screen like that?
I don't really like to watch anything I do, so I try to stay away from it.
Okay, fair enough. And if you can go back in time, what would you tell your younger self?
Get a good financial advisor and don't do your own taxes, kid.
I feel like there's a story in there.
Yeah, are you the government?
What's your best memory from that time?
Well, when I graduated middle school, the crew threw a big graduation and I cried on screen. And you know what? I think it's on video somewhere, so maybe just scrub it.
Now I have something to hunt for.
Yeah, please don't.
Was it ever hard to find your own identity outside of being known as the Sprouse twins?
It wasn't hard for me, it was hard for the audience, I think. But it's a double-edged sword. I get to bask in all of Dylan's accomplishments too, so take credit.
Win-win. And I'm happy to see that you brought all your camera gear here. You're finding some time to use all this stuff?
I am, yeah. That's my digital camera and actually this is my first little film camera.
What's that?
This is a Canon AE1. Student camera, cheap, efficient, like Cole.
I think I'm gonna leave that there and go to the next question.
Okay.
So I heard your dad likes to take credit for inspiring your photography.
Yes, but that's what fathers do. Isn't that a prerequisite for being a father?
Certainly. Does he ever give you any tips or advice on photography?
He's an incredible location scout, I will give him that.
And what's the best location that he ever scouted for you?
Oh, man. Best location. My future gravesite, probably, yeah.
Oh, God.
Nice little plot in the desert somewhere.
Morbid.
Tumbleweeds. Yeah, it's a little morbid, isn't it?
So have you been designated as your family photographer?
Yeah, it'll probably just be a matter of time till I'm doing senior portraits or wedding photos and things. Just dreadful.
Come on, it's family. That's how it works. So when you're taking a photo, what's the first place your eye goes to?
The landscape, certainly.
And do you have any favorite landscapes here?
Yeah, and one of my favorite shoots ever is actually right across the water. I can go and show you if you like.
I'd love to take a look at this. You know, it's funny, everywhere I go here, there's a nice view. There's nice views everywhere in Vancouver.
Yes, and some nice views for the people watching me bathe.
So what's your favorite photo shoot of all time that you've done?
Favorite photo shoot? It's this location I'm about to show you. It's a large yellow mountain on the north of Vancouver that my friend and I shot at when I was in the first season of Riverdale.
It sounds so magical. Let's check out this magical view.
Come through. Well, maybe I'll show you on the deck in a little bit. This is the view.
Wow.
Welcome.
Wow, I love it. Now, obviously, you're quite the traveler, right?
Oh, I'm obsessed.
Yeah, you believe the privilege of traveling could be very educational. What could be the biggest takeaway for anyone who travels?
Well, I think before the advent of social media, traveling was one of the greatest ways to really learn about otherness. I think it's important to travel alone, too. Suspend your own personal culture inside some place that feels unfamiliar to you, really.
We can all benefit from getting out of our comfort zone. And what's been your own biggest personal takeaway from traveling?
Probably my palate.
Of course, such a foodie. What's the craziest dish you've ever eaten?
I like the bugs, man. I'll say it. I think we should all be eating a lot more bugs.
Would you cook a bug?
I would cook a bug and eat the bug.
What bug would you cook?
Crickets, beetles. There's tons of them. It's the most diverse species on Earth, and they're probably all delicious.
Maybe this is your next favorite recipe.
Yeah, I'll stick to the carbonara for now.
What's the most memorable place that you visited?
Japan, certainly.
If I were going to go there, what city should I visit?
I'd say Kyoto.
Noted. Do you think you're a good travel buddy?
Well, if I'm hyping myself up, yes.
And what is your number one travel tip you'd recommend to anyone flying?
Don't nap on the first day. That's the big no-no.
Cole, what is on the bedside table reading list these days?
Oh, I can't read, but I placed that there because I think it looks like I can read. But that's the unbearable lightness of being.
Would you recommend it?
Yeah. When I'm feeling the lightness in my being, I don't find it to be that unbearable.
Philosophical. And you'd also recommend comics because you're such a fan.
I am, big time.
What's your favorite comic?
Ooh, my favorite comic is more of a graphic novel called Black Hole.
Interesting. And do you own any priceless comic memorabilia?
I own a lot of really great old Incredible Hulks and Fantastic Fours, but the one that is closest to me is Avengers 500.
And speaking of old, you worked in archaeology after graduation, is that right?
Great segue, Joe.
What sparked your interest in archaeology?
My grandpa was a geologist, and it was a discipline that combined a lot of my mutual interests.
Did you discover anything particularly interesting?
Oh yeah, some spooky stuff too. I found an old ceramic theatrical mask of Dionysus in Bulgaria, a little Hellenistic settlement.
Wow, that's spooky. I would have freaked out. But what a special experience.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to wake up from the fever dream, I think.
So how does it feel to unearth major parts of history?
A lot more special than Take 3 on a long-running production.
Pretend like I don't know what that means. So what exactly happens on an archaeological dig?
Not Indiana Jones, that's for sure. A lot of you digging over a trench of dirt with a toothbrush.
Would you play Indiana Jones if offered the role?
It's a hard act to follow, but I think I can put on some muscle.
Do you ever see yourself returning to the field?
I do, eventually. I got some other milestones I have to hit first.
Priorities. Now, you started a super fun Instagram account called Camera Duels. What was the inspiration there?
Rage.
Of course, the best inspiration. Has anyone ever commented on those photos and said, hey, that's me?
I get reached out to almost every single photo I post.
And what's the weirdest place someone ever tried to take a photo of you?
The bathroom. Yeah. I wasn't in the stall. It was just at the sinks, but
Okay.
still a little vulnerable, you know?
Do you think you'll ever get used to the fact that strangers take photos of you?
Not in the bathroom.
And how's this for another classic segue? This shower looks amazing.
Yup.
And it leads me to ask the most important question of this interview. How many shower heads is too many shower heads?
Depends on the stench, Joe.
Of course. Cole, you talk a lot about preserving your mental health. What are some non-negotiable things that you do to help make that happen for yourself?
Oh, I stay off the internet.
I think we should all stay off of the internet.
I think so.
So why is it so important for you to be open and vulnerable about your mental health?
Let my family and friends know how I'm doing.
It's very important. So Cole, do you journal?
Every day, right to my therapist.
Can you tell me one thing that you've learned about yourself recently?
I'm a bit of an emotional sponge. I absorb others' energies.
Okay, and what kind of energy are you picking up right now?
Intense arousal, Joe. Intense arousal.
Must be from all the sweeping vistas of Vancouver, obviously.
Maybe it's all the seagulls around here.
Yeah, it's the seagulls. So last year you took a break from social media. What did you do instead?
Cooking.
And we're going to have a little bit of that later. Thank you. You produce and star in Baraska, a narrative podcast. What attracted you to this type of podcasting?
I wanted to get a little more hands-on with the production cycle.
What new creative muscles did you develop as a podcast producer?
It was nice to see how a project could be sold after it is completed and has a fan base.
Now, what's the last podcast that you listened to?
Welcome to Night Vale.
And in your opinion, who has the most legendary voice of all time?
David Attenborough, hands down.
Now, I'll try not to be disappointed you didn't say me.
Oh, yeah.
Can you do an impression of David Attenborough?
I'm my best David.
Best David.
The turtles wash up on the same beach they've come to for millennia.
We're going to make sure that he sees this. Who would you say your mentors are?
When I was younger, Adam Sandler for sure.
Yeah? How so?
It was the way that he was always in love with production, and he worked with his friends and his family and was still able to turn and do more independent films and artistic films while balancing commercialism.
What's your favorite role that you've ever done?
I know it sounds cheesy. I still have a really deep fondness for The Sweet Life.
I think we all have a deep fondness for Cody.
I hope so.
And what role challenged you the most?
When I was a kid, Big Daddy. It was this huge production, and I was 6, and I got to see New York City for the first time.
Do you think that inspired your return to New York later?
I think so.
And what would you say draws you to a script or character?
I guess the humanity. And the paycheck, baby.
That helps. Do you tend to stay in character in between takes?
Try to.
Cole, is that Polaroid ready?
Well, yes, it is, Joe.
Well, let's see. Come on.
Let it develop a little more, okay?
Okay, let's see, and looks good. Can I keep it?
You can keep whatever you like.
Nice. And Cole, last question number 73. What's the ETA for the finger food?
Joe, I totally forgot.
Cole, make sure it's not burning.